Good evening. Welcome tonight for another episode of Knowledge. Knowledge is the only thing that determines which way the world's going to go. It can determine the direction of countries, direction of cities, states, knowledge. And the more you know, the more you can do. So if you ever find yourself in a bind and you don't know what to do, just relax and think thoughts and think your way through it. However, that's something that men don't do these days. They don't stop and take time to think through thought. And that's what leads men to war. That's what leads men to war. There's no reason on this earth that there should be war. There's no reason on this earth that there should be war. As long as men can solve problems sociologically, mentally, sociologically, biologically, economically, then there should be no need for war. For war is the killing and the maiming of people over a problem that could have been talked out. I'm going to go back to the beginning of what caused war, and then I'm going to work on it up through, because Africa right now is facing intimidations and threat from a sick Donald Trump. In fact, Nigeria is facing threats from a sick Donald Trump. So let me go back to nature. Let's go to nature. The only time nature put a animal, person, or anything into war is when that thing threatens one's nature. If a lion threatens a wildebeest nature, threatening to kill him, then that wildebeest gonna fight. It's a state of war. If a lion jump on a leopard gonna fight, because that's a state of war. It threatens his nature. And that's the only time in history that war is acceptable. It's when you ward off someone from hurting you. Like, for instance, I come over to your house and I say, "Hey, you got a nice house, I want it." Through my jealousy and my envy and all my little personal hang-ups, I said, "I want your house." And you said, "No, I ain't ready to give my house up." And through my sickness and my not listening to God, I try to advance on you and take your house. At that particular juncture, you're legitimately okay to go to war with me, because you warned me, I'm not selling you my house, get off my property, you can't go. But if you proceed, I'm going to have to go to drastic tendencies to get you off of my property. That time, the war is justified. It's justified for a human being, it's justified for nature, for nations, and it's also justified with animals. I got 2 German Shepherd dogs. They have 2 cages. They have their own cage. They have their own food bowl. Every morning I feed them the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Put Daddy's in his cage, put Nala's in her cage. Now if it's something real good, like meat and bones, like something that, then they'll hurry up and eat theirs, and I see them looking at the other. But if Daddy go to Nala, she's the female. If Daddy, he's younger, but he like to eat more. He's male. But if he dare to go to her cage to take her food, it's a war. I didn't teach him that. I didn't teach him that. It's just natural, instinctually a war between those 2 dogs. Because why? You advancing on mine without my permission, and I didn't agree to give it up. And through my growl, you know to stay away. I warned you. I warned you. And so it is with men. Trump. So nature have within it a state of war. Now there's only states a man really supposed to live in. A state of work, 3 states. Work, worship, and war. He worked, provide for the livelihood of the things that's his and his family and his children. He worshiped. He'd go to church, worship his God with his family. And when somebody infringed upon him doing that, and then he warned them, don't do that no more. And they continue to do it without listening to your warnings, it sets up a state of war. Sets up a state of war. It's inevitable. Because how else you going to get them to stop? So it is. Last week, since Burkina Faso kicked France out of their country, kicked them out, France was controlling all the natural resources, getting it for a little bit of nothing, taking it to France and processing it, and then sell it back to them for 20 times the amount that they'd sell it to France. So Ibrahim Traoré said, no, we're not going with that no more. We just can't do that. We can't do that. Here is your country. Here is my country. When you get big ideas that you want to take the gold out of my country for your country. See, and that's what they did. And then these people said, no, look, you taking all our gold, and our boys and girls walk to school barefooted. They don't have running water. They don't have nothing. And yet you sitting up over in France with all of our gold, our bauxite, our diamonds, and all that stuff. You sitting over there with it, and yet you want to take it. And when I don't give it to you, when I agree not to give it to you, you want to send a military threat. Where'd that come from? That's the sickness in man. That's his sickness. That he owned the world. And what's under your land is mine. And if you don't give it to me, I'll take it. See, that's a devil attitude. What's yours? If you don't give it to me, I'll take it. And that's the threat that Trump sent over to Nigeria. Thinking that Nigeria, because they've been taking it all the time, but thinking Nigeria would roll over, but they didn't know. They didn't know that 4 years ago, God took the smallest country in Africa, the smallest, and planted a man in Burkina Faso. The man who stand up to the aggression that they've been having. A man who had the power to organize all of Africa. See, Trump didn't know that. They thought they could continue to do what they used to do all the time. So the president of France began to threaten Ibrahim Traoré. He stood up, he said, bring it on, baby. Don't you know, when I was in high school, a boy went to Inglewood. He come and told me, he said, Ernie, if you don't bring me $2 every Monday, he was with a gang, right? He belonged to a gang. That I'm going to beat my ass, right? If I don't bring him $2. So I told him, I said, such and such, I'm going to call his name because he might do this. But so I said, such and such, look, I'm not going to bring you $2. So if that's the pre-dawn to me and you doing this dance, let's get the dance on. Because there ain't no evidence you can whoop me. We got to first decide that. There's no evidence that you can take me down. See? Now what if I take you down? I want $2 from you every Monday. You understand? But my point was, a threat was made, and courage showed up and said, come on with it. See, he said, come on. So what happened, Ibrahim told Trump, he said, Mr. Trump, if you jump on Nigeria, you're going to jump on 54 other countries. Because what they're doing now, they're consolidating their armies. They are consolidating their armies because they know there's going to be a reprisal from Europe, because white folks have never learned to live on their own merit. They always got to subjugate somebody to live under them. So they know there's going to be a reprisal. So Africa is organizing. Not only is Africa organizing to participate in this war, Africa have went and made an alliance with Russia and made an alliance with China. And then Russia told Trump, don't mess with them. Because if you do, it'll be something you'll regret. China stepped up and asked America and said, don't even start that conversation. So now, you know, back in the 40s, people used to wonder, when is Africa going to get their liberation? And then, you know, the first country in Africa that got its liberation was with Nari. What's the country without Nari? But anyway, they got their country, but the president said, he said, but look, it feel alone, being the only free country in Africa. And so they began to work with other countries, you know, teaching them how to liberate themselves. Now, 54 countries. Now, mind you, none of the European countries are going to align with the United States. Maybe England and maybe France. But the other ones won't be quiet because they don't want to mess up their trading with Africa. See, right now, Africa is the breadbasket for the world. It's the food breadbasket for the world. It's the food breadbasket for mineral resources. And don't nobody want to mess that trade relationship up. So they're not going to side with Trump to go and jump on Nigeria. See? So the question becomes 54 countries. 54 countries. Armies. Versus USA. And let me tell you something. Those soldiers from the Sahel, from Niger, from Burkina Faso, and from Mali, they are being trained expeditiously, as fierce. I tell you what, the most fierce army on earth right now is that in Burkina Faso. The guys that surround Ibrahim, oh man. You know, them guys 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", them big guys, man. And they've been trained to the extent to fight. Our troops really don't want to fight them guys. Just like in Vietnam. The Vietnam soldiers, they really didn't want to fight the black soldiers. Because black soldiers, when they get to fight, they fight too hard. And the Vietnamese, they say, not your war. It's not your war. It's white folks' war. It's not your. Do you know they would catch black folks, black soldiers, and turn them loose? They wouldn't turn the white ones loose, but they would turn the black ones loose. They tell them, why are you fighting us? Not your war. You go home. And they would turn them loose. But the white ones, they would hold. Because they know they was imperialists. And black people weren't imperialists. They was over there being used by the imperialists. So war. What is the ingredients? Let's get down to the ingredients for war. One of the ingredients for war is that you got to hate the people you're fighting. You gotta hate the people you fight, or look down upon them, or you ever seen people who were maybe at school, that thought they could beat up somebody, and they start bullying them, like a big old guy pushing a little guy around, and then one day the little guy sought to equalize the fight. When the big guy sat down, the little guy slipped behind him with a 2x4 and bust his head. So you got that equalizer. And so, ain't no evidence Look how big America was, and look how small Vietnam was. And yet the Vietnamese ran America out. 1976, ran them out of there. They was jumping on anything that could get them out the country, boy. So ain't no evidence you're going to go over to Africa and have your damn way. Ain't no evidence of that. But one of the things, they have to hate the people. What I mean by hate? Feel superior. Feel that they're superior to the people. And they, see, white people think that might make right. Ain't true. Right make might. See, right make might. You ain't gonna go over there. They think they go over there and bomb and send a couple of bombs to Nigeria. Yeah, go ahead.
Ernie, you might want to think about this word too. What you're saying is right, but this country tends to try to dehumanize.
Yes, they
The
do.
people that they go to war against.
Yes, they do.
Against the Japs for Japanese, Gooks for Vietnamese when they were fighting that war, ragheads for the people they were fighting in the Middle East. This country is always trying to dehumanize the people that they were at war with.
That's true. And people over there call them gooks. And another thing they do, like in Africa, before Africa became awake, they killed the leaders, some of the leaders. They killed Patrice Lumumba.
Yes.
They killed Naida from Tanzania. They killed, they killed about 5 or 6 leaders. They killed Santora from Burkina Faso. They had his own friend shoot him in the back. But here's the lie they tell. They always tell a lie, like Trump tried to tell a lie on Nigeria. He tried to tell the same lie on the South Africa. Oh, you're over there killing Christians. The South African man said, man, we ain't killing Christians. What you talking? And now he done brought this lie to Nigeria. Nigeria's over there killing Christians. But that's the same lie they use for Gaddafi. He killing his people. Big bag, you killing yours. He's killing his. But yet they want to project that on another leader. Oh, and Gaddafi, you know Gaddafi wasn't killing nobody because he was making the desert bloom. By putting water, shooting water through the desert. Everybody in Libya, they had their own house, they had their own job, they had all kinds of things. And then, but he wouldn't sell his oil to Europe. And when he refused to sell his oil to Europe, they pray, hey, how you doing, Ted? They sent a hit squad. You know, they pay these missionaries to send them out and to take these leaders down. But of all people, Gaddafi was one of the better guys because he had what Gaddafi wanted to do. He wanted to take the African money and put it in one bank, and from that bank, the African countries would be able to finance themselves to get away from the IMF, International Monetary Fund. See, because the International Monetary Fund tells like this: I let you borrow, say $1,000. Well, hell, your payment every month is $600 a month. The interest on that becomes so compound, you can't pay that $1,000 back. And that's what African countries found themselves. And so when Ibrahim Traoré kicked France out, he said, hell with that debt, I don't owe you nothing. Get yours like the champ got his. And go on about your business. You know, and so France left there mad at Ibrahim. But Ibrahim said, look, you over there drinking champagne and all that stuff in France, by taking our gold, and our children have to walk 6-7 miles just to get a big barrel of water to bathe in. That ain't gonna happen none under my watch. And that's why, and do you know what? If Ibrahim Traoré today called for the youth from Kenya, they'll come. If he called for the youth from Nigeria, they'll come. He's the only man over in Africa that can organize all those African countries. Trump you'd be wise to leave that man alone. Because a man that can do that ain't of his own. A man that can do that is from God. See, it's from God. Like when we had the Million Man March here, you know, that was during the same time that we had the trial for the football player, O.J. Simpson. Everybody was concentrating on O.J. Simpson while Reverend Bevel and Farrakhan was planning the Million Man's March. That morning when they looked up, 2 million men was in East Washington. You was there, didn't you, O.J.? Yeah, I was there. Was you there at the airport?
No, I wasn't.
You didn't go. 2 million men. He had called for 1 million, but 2 million showed up. And you know what they said? Damn, we better leave that man alone. You understand? Better see, man. If you go somewhere and you got gangsters all around you, everybody back off. Leave that man alone. And that's what they said. Ibrahim, leave him alone. And they better leave him alone because not only do Ibrahim have armies in Africa, he had those 54 armies in Africa. He have armies in Jamaica, armies in the United States. He got an army in Canada. He got armies in Europe. Black people, diaspora, black people. So if they start jumping on that blacks in Africa, you know we're gonna have to fight. Because those are our cousins, those are our dads, those are our uncles. So actually, Trump is wise just to leave him alone. Because we're all around the world. Everywhere you look, you can find a black face. I know we're not on the same thought process, but if the fight break out, you know which side to run to. Mm-hmm. So you got to hate the people, dehumanize them, so they become the rich in your people's eyes. See? What they do with the Japanese, Japs. They start calling them Japs. They dehumanize them. And then, but I'm going to tell you about a white man. I want y'all to hear out there. A white man will not move on you unless he get another black person to agree that you're worth moving on. He can't. He don't have the energy to move on you, Ted, unless I meet with him in the back room and say, yeah, Ted is such and such, such. And that's what's happening in Africa. That Richardson, he's over the African, that General Richardson, that old black guy, he's over there lying to, when he come before the Congress, yeah, he taking money for himself. Ibrahim ain't taking a dime for himself. You know what I'm talking about? You seen the guy I'm talking about, right? And he lying to Congress, talking about, yeah, Ibrahim taking the gold for himself, him and his people. Just lies, man. They're trying to think of a lie to invade that country. But if they invade that country, it'll be the last country America invaded. I'm telling you that. It'll be the last country America. They backed up by prophecy. See, Africa's backed up by prophecy. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. You know they taught us that Armageddon would start off as a war in the Middle East, right? That's a lie. Ain't nothing in the Middle East people, the nations want. It's Africa where Armageddon's gonna start. In Africa. That's where everything is. Ain't nothing in the Middle East people want to bomb about houses. Ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing in the ground but salt. And then it says it would start with the Jews, right? Yeah. Well, who are the Jews? But black people. Black people are the Jews. See? Judah. Who was Judah? Judah was black. And to be Jewish don't mean you from Judah family. It means you like Judah. It's in Africa. It's the Middle East. That's where the Armageddon's going to start. And that's where Armageddon's going to end. Right there in Africa. Y'all can go on believing, but they done shot so much falsehoods and stuff up in us. We believe damn near anything. Now I'm telling you out there. The Middle East they talking about in the Bible is in Africa. All right. So, you gotta dehumanize them, you gotta disrespect them, and you got to underestimate. Underestimate their strength. I'm on all this. What Jesus said, Ted, before a man go to war, he have to do what?
Study the cost.
You have to count the cost, bro. You have to before you go to war, you better count the cost. Because it may wind up, your butt may wind up in the pickle barrel. See, yeah, you ever go to jump on somebody and y'all get to wrestling and you find that this rascal just as strong as you is and now us, and then you say, come on, son, break this up. You got to count the cost when you go to war. But that's why people, all of this, Trump, just to show you one of his flaws, he don't think nobody's smart as he is, and he's dumb as hell. He did. He said, Jasmine Crockett ain't got his IQ. Oprah, with the AOC or ACO, she dumb, she ain't got his IQ. And yet, what you gonna say? The modesty of all intelligence is to accept how little you know. Accept how, and he's dumb for even saying something like that. If people didn't think he was dumb, they know now he's dumb. The modesty of all intelligence, man, is to accept how little you know. If you know all that, he need to be sitting up there with God. We're talking about war, Ted, war. What is and if America go to war with Africa, what's our position? Y'all can talk with me on this. What's our position as black people in America?
Saying that America go to war with who?
With Africa. What's our position? We can't be neutral.
We got to stand with God.
Then when they're killing black folks, your cousins, your long lost cousins.
Yeah.
Gotta stand with Africa.
Gotta stand with Africa. Because we are Africa's diaspora. Like he said, like Ibrahim said, when they took your guys away from, he said, we fought, but we didn't have the stuff to fight with to save y'all. But now we're in better shape. We welcome y'all back home. Do you know that Burkina Faso have a laser? Big gigantic laser. You flying your airplane in the sky, they hit that laser, knock you out there. They got it from China. China is equipping them with everything, all kinds of war weapons. See, America really does. You know, China have a bomb that can travel 400 to 500 feet off the earth, up in there, and it can go 46,000 miles at such a horrendous speed that it fly under your radars. Ain't that something? We ain't got no defense. I know America got a lot of stuff, but we ain't got no defense for that. So, America, black Americans, are in a pickle bed. We're going to have to make a decision. Because this man is talking about jumping on our uncles and aunties. I know you don't see it like that, but they are. And then they told the lie, let me show you the other lie they told. People in Africa, they don't even want y'all Negroes. Y'all heard that, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Heard that? That the Africans don't like you. Yeah, and had Negroes going around saying it. But that's to keep us separated. That's to keep us so we don't see each other. All right, war. Take about 5 more minutes. War. The only thing come out of war is dead people and people that's been maimed. There's nothing good ever come out of war. Even after the Second World War, there was nothing good to come out of that. So what did they do right after that? Right after the Second World War, that's when they divided up Africa. Nothing ever good come out of war. And when we had a war with ourselves, the Revolutionary War, no, the Civil War, it was 122,000 men died. Basically because white folks in the South wanted their sovereignty. 122,000 men died. In Vietnam War, there was 55,000 men died. All them men, because some rich white boy had an oil investment over in Vietnam and tried to steal the mineral resources. We never fought for anything intelligent. All the wars we fight is for rich people. Rich people, old people start the wars, and young folks have to fight. So my position with you out there, if you got a child, send that child to college. Don't send that child to the military. Send him to college. Let him learn a skill. Let him learn a trade. Let him learn something that he can be professed at so he can make a living at it. But don't send him to the military. If they ain't drafting, don't you go down there and volunteer. Our children go down, run down there and volunteer just to get out the house and wind up fighting for somebody we don't know what the hell we fighting for. War is good for nobody. Anybody been watching YouTube lately? Here and there. You ever see this woman named Pam Bondi?
Attorney General.
Yeah. You ever listen to her talk give a report?
I try not to, but I.
She's the rudest, nastiest, venomous mouth thing I've ever seen in my life. You seen her Al? Yeah, she's nasty little hell.
Like the White House spokeswoman.
Yeah, she's like that, but she's over the Department of Justice. She won't prosecute the right criminals, and she let the wrong criminals go. She's a mess, man. She's a mess. All right. Are there any questions about war? That's it. What about you? Any questions about war? I know. Do you know 3/4 of the world they fight? There's war in Sudan. There's war in Argentina. They fighting Ukraine. There's a couple of countries in Africa. They got rebellions.
Gaza.
Yeah, Gaza. Yeah. And all over the world, there's somebody, and all they have to do to solve it is ask a question. Get an answer, make a decision, and do work on the problem. And they can solve it. Because the only thing there is when you fighting with somebody is an unknown factor that somebody don't know. And when you know it, you solve the problem. The only thing that's out here in the universe is questions and answers, problems and solutions. That's all in the universe. And all the person has to do to start that process is ask a question. Well, what is this? Man walk in a meeting and this woman sitting by another guy. And quite naturally, when he walk into the meeting, tension gonna come up in his chest, right? Until he asks the question. Who's he? And then the woman tells, oh, that's my cousin Earl. Oh, Earl meet my husband. Problem solved. Tension go down. You know, by knowing it relieves the pressure, it relieves the tension. And what we do out here in this spectrum of time, we try to keep stuff to ourselves and don't expose the knowledge and teach. Do you know Alexander Haig told the president, our greatest military blunder is that we did not educate our black masses. Had we educated our black masses to assume social responsibility for themselves, they wouldn't be such a weight on our society. But we did not do that. And Alexander Haig, who was a warmonger, he said that we did not educate our blacks to assume responsibility for themselves. Because had we done it, we wouldn't have this dead weight. Ask a question, get answers, make decisions, and do work. That's all that's out here. And you don't have to be mad at nobody. And ain't nobody gonna stop you from going to the library to get the information. Ain't nobody gonna jump on you for knowing. If you don't know, it's because you don't want to know. And if you don't, like in the projects where I come from, no more in. But when in the projects where I come from in Chicago, if somebody said, hey, you know, Ernest said something about your mom. Rather than the person coming to me and saying, Ernest, did you say something? I said, no, man, why is he trying to start something, you know? But they won't even ask. When you see them coming, they're coming like this. Already done conclude that you said it. Rather than asking a question, get an answer, make a decision, do what? We wouldn't even have to fight. So what I learned to do in the project, if I see them coming, I just wrap the arms all up with it, because I know you can't talk no sense into them. So I might as well go and get ready to bang. I ain't gonna let them slip me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's the world we live in. We're quick to accuse, we're quick to blame, we're slow to understand, and even slower to ask questions. And that's my report for this week. See you next week. Thank you.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah. Teddy, what's going on, Teddy? Yeah. What's going on? Talk to me, Teddy. Shot up one of his villages. Yeah, they'll get them. Boys, they'll get them boys soldiers. I'm waiting to see when Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso join armies all together. And the Sohai, that's the area they live in called the Sohai. It's gonna be something. Cause he told the president of Nigeria, don't worry, man, we with you. Yeah, he said, no, they ain't gonna do that. And he told Trump, he said, don't come over here with that shit. he said, don't come over, because we're organizing 54 countries against your ass. You know how many soldiers they have? 54 countries. I know America got airplanes. I know they got jets, and I know they can bomb. But then, what they gonna do when Russia's plane shows up? What they gonna do when the Chinese MiG shows up? Because the Chinese MiG, they back them. And you ever see any of those Chinese invented things? You ever see any of them bridges they built? All that scientific stuff that the Chinese do. And blacks are even tougher than that. Because just the blacks in Burkina Faso, they put the computer system together. They got their own radar. You know, they carry the internet. I mean, they carry the internet and the telephones. Just a little country like. And I said to myself, oh, God, it's something. You would think you would give it to a country like Nigeria. Nigeria is the biggest country in Africa.
Right.
It's got over 200 million people. But it ain't the smartest country because the leader of Nigeria, you've been there for 40 years. Got to leave, move, and let some young people take over, man. Yes, sir. cashier right there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, no. That's it. Okay. Can you get out?
Yeah, I'll figure out a way.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a. How, you okay, Ted? Look like you get your sleep, baby.
It's all right, Ted. We all tired, man. We all tired.
Yeah, I'm going home and go to sleep too. Cold. Oh, what you call it? They went to a meeting. They went to a meeting. Oh, probably not. I would no. Yes, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be a very, very interesting meeting on December the 3rd.
Okay.
Because Jack Reed is bringing Justin Fields to talk about the school closing down.
Oh, okay.
On December the 3rd.
That's a week after.
Shit, man.
Week 3rd.
Hi. You just passed it by. Yeah. You just passed it by. Yeah.
Give us about. Yep. Brother Ted. This is the Vice President of Black on Black Brother Ted.
Okay. Aretha, what you want? Baby, I got it. Yeah. I got just to give you a report, I got a lot of feedback on that company when I did last week, like male-female relationship. I had people calling me from all over.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a couple of listeners in Petersburg, Florida, and then I got 2 or 3 listeners in Waterloo, Iowa, and a lot of listeners in Chicago.
That's always a hot topic.
Yeah. That's Hey, honey, I agree with you, man. I tried to whoop my son and had to argue with my wife. Oh, yeah.
You said don't let it be stepson.
I'm telling you, there ain't no boy. The hell you hit me for? But see, a good father and a good mother, they're synthesized already. And the mother, the father, if it's his stepson, he give the wife the lead to say, look, he's taking care of this house. You give him respect while you're here. And then the daddy follow up by making a good friendship with the boy that they start doing stuff together. You know, the more you do with a child, the more you can do with a child. And if a woman know that you see, The best thing a man can do for a child is love his mother. If the boy see that the man love his mother, he give it up. See? Yeah. Like you take like Shaq. Shaq said his father's name is Ernest. His real father come back, when he started getting money. And Shaq is stingy. And I mean, he's stingy in the way of you can't get his money if you don't do something for it. His own kids can't get it if they don't do nothing for it. And so he wasn't going to let his daddy, who ran out his life, get no damn money. Yeah, but I still think we got a long way to go. And I don't think we're going to get there by imitating our families like white families. And I know white families got that soft touch in their house. Hey, Madge, March, what you doing? Da-da-da-da. And next come, they have supper together. And all that looks good. But underneath the cover of all of that is the sins of generations. That's why they boy leave the house and go up on top of a building and shoot and kill 30 people. Unresolved conflict, Unresolved. And they got the weakest feelings of anybody in the world. I tell you who got weak feelings, Jews. They don't want to take no criticism. You go up, Negroes that scared, they don't say nothing about Jews. You know what I'm saying?
Criticize Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Not even Jewish people, just the government in Israel.
Yeah. But that ain't what they call anti-Semitic. That ain't even right. You know what Semitic means? Once you look at Semitic is a dark-skinned Middle East person. Hey Siri. Damn, why ain't this thing?